Alright, I just wanted to talk to you guys about some of the lies being told about being a tradesman. Number one, I've heard people say that most tradesmen are ex-cons and that sort of thing. Personally, I've never had an ex-con. Well, I've had one or two over the years trying to rehabilitate themselves, and they were actually pretty good workers. But that is only maybe in cities like New York City and stuff like that, where they have a real, division between people who have office jobs and people who have trades, and they look down more on tradespeople in those big cities, especially liberal areas. High liberal areas tend to think that tradesmen are all just some sort of reformed criminal. So, what I do with those guys is I just charge them a higher price. You pay for that, guys. But anyway, that's not true. I was a college graduate myself. I actually got a degree in business and realized that there was a huge demand for trades, and that's why I got into doing paint trade. And I knew people who made $4 million a year owning a trades business, small trades business, painting. The trade that everybody says, oh, you don't make any money if you do painting. That's not true. It's another thing that's not true. Another thing I hear is, if you don't go to college, you're never going to amount to anyone. And maybe for some people that's true, but for people who get into the trades, it's probably not going to be true. I got friends, people that I know, absolutely barely even finished high school, if they even finish high school, that make over $100,000 a year as a tradesman. So, in today's world, that's not a bad income. You can do pretty darn well. And I know guys who would make even more than that with no college at all. So, yeah, going to college and spending all this money and getting an art degree is going to get you more than you do going out working in the trades. Share your thoughts on that one. I have nothing against college. I think it's a good idea. I think if you go to college, you should have a career choice in mind that has demand for what you do, say for engineering or something like that. There's tons of jobs for that sort of thing, and it's a good investment for some people. But some people just don't do that. That's not their lifestyle. That's not how they work. They like to work outside. They like to do things to help people. And that's a lot of what, if you're working in plumbing or if you're working in painting houses, you're helping people. The people, they don't know how to do those sort of things. They call you and you're helping them get their plumbing fixed. You're helping them get their house painted. And people like that. And it's a rewarding thing to do. It's a really rewarding thing to do, to paint a house, because when you go out and paint that house, it was all ugly and peeling and gross looking, and when you're done, it looks nice and clean. Everything's painted nice, straight lines. It's a rewarding thing to do. So in that respect, it's a great thing. Another one is, the trades are not for women. That's just a farce. Okay, I had a woman who was a painter. She was 6 feet tall, and she was a painter. I had her about 25 years ago. And I'll tell you what, she could outwork almost any guy in the job. She would get up there on the ladders, and she could I remember her scraping down a wall, and it was so perfectly scraped, beautiful. We went to paint it, and it was done. There was no areas missed, nothing like that. She just did a fantastic job. She cut in as fast as any man on the job. She could roll, 15 gallons a day. Like I always say, if you can roll 15 gallons a day, you're doing good. And she'd show up for work, even with problem with her kids or whatever. She'd resolve that. She'd show up to work on time, and she was a good painter. I remember Karen. She was an excellent painter. Another woman that I had that came up on the job is she was out of prison, and she didn't want to go back. And she was a painter in prison. She was a damn good painter, really good. She'd get out there and get down. I can't remember her name, but she would get up on the ladders and do anything the guys would do, and she loved the job. So saying that trades is only for men is not true too. And the other thing people say is, when a woman works in the trades, she doesn't make as much as a man. Oh no, that's not true. They got paid the same. It's when you're in the trades business, it's all about what you can produce. How many walls can you paint in one day? How many gallons of paint can you put on the walls? And how much can you get produced in one day? And that production amount that you do equals how much money you get paid when you work for a decent contractor. So again, that's another farce. Women don't make as much money as men in the trades. It's the only business I can tell you for sure that you're going to make as much as any man if you can produce the same that they do. Bottom line. Another farce. Guys are saying if you go to college, you definitely will make more money than you do in the trades business. Now, if you go to college and get your BA, okay, and you get it in business, and later on you become a project manager, that can be very useful. Again, getting your degree is not a bad thing. But if you say you're guaranteed to make more money than if you do in the trades, that's just not true. Some tradesmen, again, because the whole time, let's say you don't have the money to go to college. Who does? Who has $300,000, $200,000 to go to college for 4 years? Okay, who has that kind of money? The rich? Well, if you're not rich, you're gonna have to get student loans, and you get out student loans, and you get done, and you got 200 grand in student loans. All right, and you got payments to make on those student loans, and by the time you get done paying those student loans off, and let's say you make 200 grand a year after that, you've already spent a ton of money on those payments. You're paying interest on that, right? So over the 4, 10, 15 years, whatever it takes to pay that student loan off, you're paying payments on that, so you're really not taking home all that income. In the trades business, you start out making money. You say, well, you don't make very much as a trade starting out. Well, it's a show me business. If you can produce, if you can get out there and learn how to produce and do a good job and do it fast and get it done right, and you do that within the first year, you're going to get a raise. The guys are automatically going to want to keep you because you're making them money. It's all about that. If you're making the contractor money, he can pay you, and that's how it all works. And if you can learn how to produce enough, then you're going to end up going into business for yourself, and you can even make more money doing that. Some guys with self-employed make $500,000 to $1 million a year, even with 1 or 2 employees, just a few guys. Just depends on the trade you're doing, depends on where you're working at, depends on the accounts you have. Another lie. Guys say it's seasonal work. You only work for a while, then the interest rates go up and everything goes to hell, and trades all die off, new construction dies off, you don't make any money. Well, if you're doing new construction, that's what happens, okay? But if you're doing service work, like if you're a painter and you're doing repaints, I've never done new construction painting. I've always done repaints, and repaints go on all the time, even when, things are going down, people don't have as much money. There's always still work. There's stuff going on. In 2008, 2009, I was busy every day. Guys were all losing everything. I was busy because I worked in the right way. You got to find the avenues that make money. So I started doing sign business, and that's, I cross-trained into that area and started doing sign-related painting and stuff like that. I'd done it when I was younger. I learned a little bit about it then, and then I trained into that. Okay, guess what happens when the economy goes bad? Companies take down their signs. They put up new signs because somebody else buys them out. Busy. Another friend of mine was a project manager for a general contractor, and when the economy went to hell, he got into being a project manager for a sign company. There you go. There's a way to train into that industry. Look, if you're an electrician, they get busy. They need home runs for the signs. New signs need home runs. You get into that. There's tons of stuff going on. I mean, there's other avenues. There's service things that are going on all the time. Like, if you're doing this in like electrician, you can do like gas station remodels. They have to do that every 4 years or something like that. You can get into doing plumbing for that. You can get into doing just always be busy. In refineries, you're just constantly busy. There's no way to get out of work doing that. So the seasonal thing, look, it only happens to new construction. Anything else, there's constant work. You just have to be looking for it. You have to market yourself. You have to find the contractor, or if you're in business, find the business that has work going on, because they will. There's always somebody making money in the contracting business. Always. So like roofing. If your roof's leaking, you gotta fix it. You get into roofing, that sort of thing, guaranteed work. So those are another lie that people say, and they say the work is saturated. There's too many people working in construction. And this is when it comes down to your production. If you can outproduce the other guys, if you can have an edge over what they do, you're always going to be working. I got a friend that was doing concrete, and he could outproduce anybody. He goes, you find 3 guys, and I will outrun all 3 of them. Your best 3 guys, get them out there, and I will outproduce those 3 guys. And see, if that's your mentality, then you're going to be working. So when things got bad, and concrete's like one of the trades that slows down, because a lot of that's new construction, right? You're putting down new construction. Not very people are pouring driveways. It's an optional thing. But when there are roof leaks, there's always work. That's what I'm saying. You can get into a different trade. You could be around roofing for a while and learn roofing, and maybe not even be a roofer. But then when things get slow, you jump into the roofing trade and do that for a while. The new construction stops, the remodels go up. That's the way it works. So you start doing remodels. Maybe you learn some other trades. You never stick to just one trade and everything else. You can learn multiple trades. Like I learned how to build a house from another trade. I went and worked with a guy. He worked with me. He was slow, so he needed work. And he knew a little bit about painting. He wasn't a very good painter. I'm a painting contractor. And he came to work for me. And then he goes, hey, I got this room addition, I needed a room addition on my house. I said, well, I need a room addition. He goes, let's do it. So he showed me all the carpentry trade stuff, and doing cripple walls, and building all the stuff on the roof, and how to get plans approved, go to the city. This all happened from one little trade change. I went from working as a mechanic to getting into the paint trade, and started making way more money than I did as a mechanic. And I cross-trained into all these other things, and then got into science and all kinds of stuff like that. So there's a ton of different things to know, and there's just the work you can make in the trades business is just unlimited. And in places like California, all the tradesmen are leaving. Why? Because there's unfavorable government for trades. They take away everything. So you can just charge whatever the heck you want. If people have enough money, they'll pay it, but some don't have enough money. So it's pretty bad for the poor and lower middle class here. And there's just, they're getting left out, but the government, people still vote that way. So whatever, that's their problem. And you can basically drop into any city, anywhere, and always have work. You know it. And you're in trades, any city. So another thing is in the winter, in a lot of places, you have no work. Well, you go from outside work to inside work. And so you might be doing painting outside in the summer, and in the winter you're doing offices inside. There's another thing, in the other trades you'll be moving from outside to inside, and sometimes you got to work in the elements, and yeah, it sucks, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes it isn't that bad. So all those things that people say, try and make it ugly, I'm not certain why they do that. Let's have a perfectly educated society and all that other garbage. Yeah, that's great in some respects, but it's really not true. They're always going to need people to build buildings, even if they have these new construction methods where they're using, what is that called? Printing a house. All right. They print the walls, but the roof's got to get put on, the ceiling joists and the what are they called, trusses or whatever they're using for roof system. That's all got to get put on that stuff. They got to have guys go over and put the doors in. They got to have electrical done. You can't have machines do all that stuff. There's always going to be work in the trade business. So all those things, and then some. There's just so many farces about trades, about negativity, that trades are dumb and all this other stuff. It's just not true. None of that's true. And it's a shame that these people, have this elite status, think that, oh, well, I'm a software engineer. I'm smarter than you. Guess what? You're not. You're just another person with a different avenue in life. And the tradesman might even be smarter than you are. So anyway, with that, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Please like, share, and subscribe.